That's right. The sovereign citizen movement in America no longer uses the word sovereign citizen because they say you can't be sovereign and a citizen. And they say that a citizen is a type of slave, meaning you're a slave. So they're American national something or another. But they don't even know what the word citizen is. It's just that one of them came up with this without ever even checking, and they all fall for it because they're the most gullible people in the world. They fall for all this nonsense. But just like the flat earthers and many other of these fringe people, they do not believe what is real and reality. They believe what they want to believe, that somehow some loophole in the law is going to allow them to be free. Instead of working to try to make themselves more free, to be active politically or whatever it takes, no, they're just going to take it upon themselves to say, I'm automatically free because this guy on YouTube told me so.
One of the major rules I stress vehemently to the people in my class is you're no longer in a world of rights and safety. You're in a world of government intolerance of the very people that empower and create it. So,
they start out using fear-mongering techniques.
Never leave home ever again without some form of recording device with you. Don't leave home without something that records.
That's not bad advice. Everyone's got a smartphone these days, Apple, Android, or whatever you have. Most people have this, and even some of the older style cell phones have a recording device on them, so that's not a big problem. And if you feel you need to record the police while they're interacting with you, just don't be rude and put it in their face. I think there's nothing wrong with that, and it's probably good advice.
Police officers are being trained to treat us as the enemy. They are first and foremost the ones you have to watch out for. Never talk with a peace officer, police officer, or any other type of officer if you're not recording the encounter. The first one is, do remember that an officer is required to read you your rights before questioning or searching you if they have placed you in a custodial arrest. Now, one of the things that most people in Texas do not know is that every time you were stopped for an alleged transportation stop, you are already in a custodial arrest.
No, you're being detained. I don't think that means custodial arrest. You're being detained because you can't just take off after you get pulled over. So, yeah, you deal with the situation and you go on with your day. Not these people, though.
They will always tell you, however, that you're not under arrest. They will tell you that you're in a custodial detention. This is a lie. The reason they're doing this is to get you to start talking freely.
Now, I've been driving most of my life. Since I was 18 years old, I've had a driver's license. There was a small stint there where for a couple of years I didn't have a driver's license. But for most of my life I had a driver's license, and for much of that I had a CDL. And so I've had interactions with police. I have never had a police tell me that. I've never had a cop tell me that you're under custodial attention. They didn't even tell me that I was being held or anything like that. They just told me about whatever they were pulling me over for. Never have I had that happen. I'm guarantee I've been pulled over more than this guy has, being a professional driver, driving in all 49 lower states and all that. So he's just full of it.
Because under arrest, you're liable to watch what you say. Under arrest, they have to read you your rights, which is what this is dealing with. If they don't tell you that and you just talk freely, then anything you say can and will be used against you, and you can't get it suppressed later because the court will view it as a voluntary statement.
In other words, just don't let your mouth get you in trouble. That's all you have to say. That's all I have to say. Don't let your mouth get you in trouble.
Don't ever answer an officer's questions. There's no requirement for you to answer their questions. I don't care what they tell you.
But if you're not doing anything wrong and you're not incriminating yourself, then there's no reason why you shouldn't answer their questions. This guy's setting you up to be confrontational with the police.
There's no requirement for you to give them anything that they want. Yes, Texas law says you have to give them a license, you have to give them registration, you have to give them proof of insurance. Problem, that's a due process violation.
Problem, you are required to give them proof of insurance, proof the car's registered so they know it's not a stolen car, and you're required to give them your driver's license to identify yourself. If you're going to drive, you have to identify yourself if you're asked. You don't have to do so if you're walking down the street, I guess, but you sure in the hell do if you're going to drive a car, because that's one of the requirements to drive a car. There are requirements. You have to follow speed limits. You're not allowed to be intoxicated. Need to obey traffic, posted traffic laws and limits. And if you violate those, if they pull you over, it's because you violated something. And they do need to identify you. So not identifying yourself is going to make more problems for you than you need.
The law is attempting to make it mandatory that you waive a protected right in order to exercise some alleged privilege or exercise an actual right of another type. Don't be saying and doing anything that helps them and hurts you.
Don't do anything that hurts you. Following this guy's advice is going to hurt you. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you freedoms. It's going to cost you a lot, your time and money, following this guy's advice. Driving is a privilege, regardless if you want to believe that or not.
That is the reason why I have a major 3-part rule about everything here, and that is everything that comes out of your mouth has to be directed to one of 3 specific purposes: invoking a right, demanding a right, or protecting a right.
If you say so.
That you are not to provide any information or documents in response to the officer's demands or questions. That means you don't give him a license, you don't give him registration, you don't give him proof of insurance or anything else.
Yeah, don't do those things and see what happens. That's all I got to say. Don't do those things. Don't give him a driver's license. Don't give him registration. Don't give him proof of insurance. And see how it works out for you.
They can't compel you to waive your right to remain silent and not to self-incriminate in order to meet their requirement of tell me that you have what I want. Because what they want is for you to allow them to get you in that vice of pay us money or we'll come after you for more money. Any information or documents in response to the officer's demands or questions is going to hurt you. Invoke your fundamentally protected right to remain silent and to assistance of counsel, and then simply refuse to waive those rights. How do we do that? Well, you waive it because you complied with the officer's demands. The moment you comply, it's waived. You're done. It's over.
The moment you comply, he writes you out a ticket, hands it to you, and you're on your way. When you don't do that, you're going to be there with the cop much longer, and you're going to irritate him, and things are going to be a lot worse. You're not going to leave off with a warning. Like most of the time I get pulled over, I just get a warning. I got caught 20 miles over the speed limit. And all I got was a warning. Because I comply, I'm polite. Being an asshole doesn't work out for you with the cops. They have a tough job anyway. And just being an ass to them because, you know, you're listening to one of these sovereign citizen gurus. Reality is, it's not going to work.
You cannot get that back. You cannot ask the information to be suppressed because the courts will say you gave it up voluntarily. The foremost thing to remember in these situations is to not engage the officers in idle conversation, dialogue, or chit-chat. Why? Because the more comfortable you are and the more talkative you become, the more likely you are to say or do something that's going to hurt you somewhere down the line.
Engaging in a conversation with the cop, idle talk, is just because a cop is a human. They care. Believe it or not, a lot of cops out there care. And you know, being nice to them, oh, that's a nice car, whatever he says to you. I mean, you can answer it. And he says, if what you say incriminates you and gets you more in trouble, that's because if you're going to be stupid and say something stupid, yes. But if you use your brain and talk to them intelligently, you will have no problem.
Or that will give this officer more information he needs to conduct what he's going to refer to as articulable probable cause or a heightened reasonable suspicion to say that you were doing something more illegal, or that would give him an opportunity to go fishing down a different path.
If you just comply with the ticket, even if you don't think it's just, even if you think you weren't speeding, you can discuss that with the judge, not the cop. If you're nice to the cop, you'll be on your way. If you do what this guy says, you're going to be there longer, and then you're going to give the cop reason to look for more things. If you just get your ticket, your speeding ticket, and go on, you're going on about your day. If you're going to keep the cop there longer, yes, he's going to look for other things.
Any question the officer asks, like where are you coming from, where are you going, who are you meeting, they have nothing to do with the stop.
In all my years of driving and getting pulled over, I never had a cop ask me who I was going to pick up or who I was going to see or even where I was going. I may have once or twice, hey, where are you going in such a hurry? They would say. But I've never had them go into the conversation of my personal, what I'm doing personally. Not unless you're sitting there engaging them with your sovereign citizen bullshit. Then maybe they'll ask those questions. But if you're just being a polite human being, they're not going to even care where you're going.
Stop answering those questions. It's none of his business. He has no right or authority to know that. Also, never answer questions like, do you know why I pulled you over? Or are you aware that you... Stop helping this guy screw you over. That's what he's doing.
If a cop asks you if he knows why he pulled, if you know why he pulled you over, he's asking to see if you're aware of what you're doing, if you're aware of your speed, if you're aware of the stop sign you just ran, that maybe you're too tired to be driving or something like that. That's why he's asking. And they'll ask that. If you answer it, yeah, I was going a little over speed limit. I'm sorry, I didn't notice the speed limit had changed. I'll keep it down. And then, okay, you'll be on your way. More than likely, you'll be on your way if you said that. But if you're rude, I'm not going to answer questions, well, then you're escalating things.
Doing. When he asks those types of questions and you answer, what are you doing? You're giving him evidence. Well, yeah, I guess you caught me speeding back there, or you're running that stop sign, or going through that red light. Thank you for the confession that he has on his audio-video recording, and we'll use it against you in a court of law.
Fact is, he doesn't need your confession. He's already clocked you on radar. He's already, now cops all have cameras anyway, so they've caught you in the act anyway. So, you know, doing what this guy says is just going to escalate things for you. That's it. He doesn't need that. He's asking it because he wants to know if you're aware of what you're doing while you're driving.
Stop answering questions. Just don't. You do need to remember to do the following immediately when you realize you're getting pulled over. First and foremost, roll up all of your windows and lock all of your doors. Okay, why? Because these guys are getting more aggressive every day about jumping in your car without any probable cause, coming in from the passenger side, your side, and just pulling you out of the car for no good reason, yanking your keys out of the ignition, refusing to give them back, any of those things.
No, they're going to yank your keys out of the car, reach in your car, if you've escalated to the level where the cop needs to do that. That's bullshit. Roll up your windows and lock your doors. The cops are coming. Yeah. Roll down your window, talk to the cop, be polite, and get on your way.
Roll your windows all the way up, lock all of your doors. That keeps them outside and you inside until they can give a viable reason why that needs to change. Don't give them the opportunity.
This is what happens if you lock your doors and roll your windows up and won't comply to the cop.
Breaking my window.
Keep your hands on the steering wheel.
Breaking my window. To give me a citation.
Right now, along with all the other problems you caused yourself by being an asshole to the police, now you're going to have to buy a new windshield because they're not going to pay for it. I don't care what these sovereign citizens say. You can sue them until the cows come home. They're not paying for your window. They wait and they take that's the last thing they do when you won't comply in any other way. When you get to the point that they're breaking out your windows, you're already under arrest. So
To do that. Do remember, however, that my objective here is not to get anyone hurt or injured. You have to use your own judgment as to how far you're willing to press your rights and keep them. That's entirely an individual requirement. You and only you know the situation you're in at the time. You and only you have reason to believe this officer is going to lose control and do something that will seriously injure you. You need to take that into consideration whatever happens. Okay?
what he's really saying is you are in control of the rights they made up for you. Driving is a privilege, not a right. No matter how many times they're going to tell you that, it's never going to change. Reality is not going to change just because you listen to some guru on YouTube or some obscure internet website. What more can I say?
But that being said, you need to be very careful that it gets to a point that is documented that you did not waive that right willingly, that you were forced to do it.
Refusing to identify yourself when you're in a motor vehicle is not a right. Refusing to get insurance, because why else are you going to not show them insurance? Because you don't have any. Right? Why are you not going to show them registration? Because you got fake tags on your car.
Don't ever roll down more than one window at a time if you do remain in your car when you get stopped. No matter what the officer tells you to do, one window only. I don't care if there's cops at every window saying roll this now, don't do it. One window only. Why? Well, if you create more than one air vent in that car by rolling down multiple windows, you will create a cross breeze inside of that car. If you do that, that immediately gives the officer the opportunity to say he smells something coming from the car.
If you smell something coming from your car, it means you're getting high in your car, and that's illegal. But this is what's funny. If you open up one window, they won't smell the marijuana that you have in your car. But if you open up two windows, you create a cross breeze, and they're going to smell it. Dude, they're going to smell it. Maybe if it's pretty good stuff like I used to smoke back in the day, and they could smell that with your windows rolled up and cellophane wrapped around your car. If they smell marijuana, that's your problem. You shouldn't smoke in your car anyway. If you're going to smoke pot, don't do it in your car. You're not, even if you're in a state where it's legal, you don't want to be smoking because then you're going to be intoxicated, and it's just like having an open beer, drinking a beer in your car. It just something someone with common sense doesn't do. Smoke the dope in your house. Get out of your car and go find a cool place behind a building and smoke it, toke up or whatever you do. Don't toke up in your car. That's advice from me. This guy's advice is don't roll down both windows because they'll smell your marijuana.
A single window down, that is impossible. Nothing can exit the car in that manner. There's no wind to blow it out the window for this officer to allegedly smell.
It's already demonstrated this guy isn't very intelligent. Why are you people listening to him?
So don't ever do that, because the first thing he's going to do when he can't get what he wants one way is he's going to attempt to escalate the stop and get it another. Don't ever roll your one open window down more than 2 and 2.5 inches. Again, no matter what the officer tells you. If he tells you you have to roll your window all the way down, just sit there and say, officer, I like the window where it is. I can hear you just fine. I'm comfortable with it right here. I don't want to roll it all the way down. I'm not going to roll it all the way down. There's no law that requires you to do that. Now be aware that he will get upset by this, and he will attempt to threaten you, but he's not at a point yet where he can actually justify anything he does that consists of violence.
Again, whether right or wrong, you are escalating the situation by being rude. I'm not going to roll this window up. It's just fine where it is. Cops, they want to be able to reach in there, give you your ticket or whatever, see what you're doing. Who knows? But, rolling your window up, I'm going to leave it up just as much. I've seen videos where people do that. They're just making things worse for themselves.
Don't ever give your consent to an officer to search your car for any reason. That's just dumb. Don't do it.
A cop is only going to search your car if he has a reasonable suspicion that he's going to find something. Don't give him any indication that you got anything in your car. That's common sense number one. But we're not dealing with people who have common sense.
Without a warrant, they don't have a reason to search your car unless they actually put you in the back of theirs with the intent of taking you to a magistrate, which is where they're supposed to take you, even though they take you directly to jail. You need to be aware that
He's 100% incorrect there. They have to take you to a magistrate and not jail. No, they take you to jail so that you can go to the magistrate. See, a magistrate, which is a judge, doesn't have to be on call 24/7. He has his working hours 9 to 5 like everybody else. When his courts are in session, when he's not having a court, first thing in the morning they do the jail court where you're on video, but they don't do it on Saturday and Sunday and holidays. In some states or some cities where they don't have that many judges, they may only do that a few days a week. You may have to wait in jail for 48 hours before you see a magistrate. So don't escalate the situation so it comes down to that. He's wrong, and he's supposed to be a former police officer. He doesn't even know this.
also is illegal in most states, including Texas, and that you can sue them for false imprisonment when they do that. But that's beyond the scope.
Yeah, you can sue them for false imprisonment, but it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to do anything because it'd be frivolous.
With this presentation, if you give them consent, here's the potential downside. You are asking for the incriminating evidence to get planted in your car, or evidence that you may not have even known was in your car to be discovered.
There's nothing you can do if he's going to plant evidence on your car. He's just going to arrest you and plant it. There's giving consent or not giving consent's not going to have anything to do with that situation. The other part to that is if you don't have anything illegal in your car, then not worry about it. I mean, if you're going to drive around with sovereign citizen plates and then have marijuana or illegal handguns when you're not allowed to have one or something, maybe you're an ex-felon, because a lot of these sovereign citizens are ex-felons and people who had their driver's license suspended, DUIs and stuff like that. That's not all of them, but a lot of them are. They're just skating around their own problem. But if you don't have, you shouldn't have anything in your car that's illegal, because you always run the risk of getting pulled over and have your car searched, I guess. I've never in my entire life had a car searched. I've known people who have, and they were in the middle of doing something illegal. I don't personally know anybody who's had their car searched that wasn't up to no good.
Don't consent to a search that doesn't have a warrant attached to it. Just don't. This is the key reason you don't get out of your car, because they have to have a really good reason, such as actually saying, we're taking you with us.
Oh, goody. I get to use a case law. Because you know how these SovCids like to use case laws, but mostly they take archaic case laws or case laws that they take out of context or take a paragraph out of a case law. But this is a case law, Pennsylvania versus Mims. If a cop asks you to get out of a car, you're required to do so. That is federal law in all 50 states. So regardless of what this charlatan tells you, if a cop asks you to get out of the car, you are required to do so.
In order to get into that car to perform a search without that warrant. The search incident to arrest requirement that allows them to do it without a warrant, even though you're in a custodial arrest, they're lying to you about that and haven't informed you of that. So if they attempt to search the car at this point, the search can get thrown out and suppressed as being illegal. And they know it. All right, the officer is going to almost always insist you are not under custodial arrest, but rather are simply being detained or are part of an investigative detention. Again, that's a lie. No officer has the authority to simply walk up and demand that you answer questions, produce ID, or provide them with your private information. But they're going to try to do that, okay?
Okay, follow this guy's advice and see how well it works out for you. That's all I got to say. A cop does have a right to ask for your insurance, ask for your registration, and ask for your driver's license. He can give you a warning, but if you escalate it, you're not getting a warning.
So it doesn't matter whether they're doing it verbally, it doesn't matter whether they're demanding you give it to them in the physical form or an ID. They can't just walk up and demand it and you're not required to give it to them. Be aware that when you won't submit and give them your information, though, their favorite tactic is to start threatening you, and they're going to start trying to say they're going to charge you with failure to identify, which here in Texas is one of their favorites. But the problem is, when you read the failure to identify statute, there's only specific ways to commit that offense. And in either case, in order to charge you for not providing information,
Failure to identify, when you're pulled over by the police, he starts an investigation. So if you fail to identify, you're obstructing justice. And you'll be charged with that along with what the speeding ticket, DUI, or whatever else they're going to get you with. So you could have gotten one ticket. Now you're getting multiple tickets following this guy's advice.
the officer is required to have already arrested you for some other type of offense. Failure to identify is not an arrestable offense in and of itself, except in subpart B, where it gives the requirement that you don't provide false information in illegal detention. But notice the contrast. In illegal detention, you can't give false information, but you can refuse to give any.
This is the crazy part about these soft citizens. They'll call it illegal detention or illegal this or the cops breaking the law by, they're nonsense. Well, reality is reality, and the soft cid false this and that isn't reality. So that
whereas in a lawful arrest for some other offense, you shouldn't give false information and don't. But they also, at that point, they say you can't refuse to give them name, address, and date of birth. And that is the only three pieces of information you're required to give.
all that stuff's on your driver's license, so why don't you just give them your driver's license?
But nowhere are you required to provide that information at any time on a physical form of ID. You don't have to do it with a license. You don't have to do it with a passport. You don't have to do it with any form of physical identification. Verbal is enough, as long as you provide those three pieces of information if you've been lawfully arrested or detained.
Because this guy says so. But in a real world situation, you are required to show them an ID regardless. I'm just going to give you this information because this guy on YouTube told me that, officer.
Now, once you know the officer's name and his badge number, you're going to use that as often as possible while you're going down the things in this script. Why? Because you want that officer associated with every illegal activity you can get him into while he's got you.
The claim is illegal. It's illegal. Nobody has rights except for these soft cids. And anything the cops do that they don't agree with, they say it's illegal. But it's not. These cops are trained. They don't do it illegally because then shit gets thrown out of court. They're very meticulous about how they word things and how they talk to you. So they're not doing anything illegal, guaranteed, unless it's some rookie cop.
So you want to directly relate him and what he's doing to some violation of your rights at every single opportunity. That also makes any video record self-authenticating. Question 1. For the record, may I get your name and badge number, please? This is the first thing you ask when the officer approaches your car window. You want to know who it is you're dealing with and how to identify them.
Sure, you can do that. But the way you ask him might escalate things. So, if you really need that information, usually it's right there, his name and his numbers right there on his uniform. You get in clear sight most of the time. But, if you're doing it rudely, it's not going to work for you.
Make sure that your recording catches their name and badge number. That makes your recording self-authenticating. Immediately. Let's just say, for instance, the officer said his name is Davis and his badge number is 123. Officer Davis, badge ID 123, is there recording being made of this encounter? Again, you want him to tell you whether or not he's making an official record of this. When you ask for this information, they say, well, we didn't make a recording or the equipment was malfunctioning. These three things will help you prove that's a lie if you got an answer to them.
I'll agree with that point, maybe. I mean, I really could care less because I don't have anything to hide. I'm not doing anything illegally, so I'm not really worried. But I mean, if you're worried about it, ask if you're being recorded, and you can get those recordings. I think it takes a few amount of days, but you can get them. You'll have a record of you being pulled over by the police camera and by your camera, I guess, if that's important to you.
So these are optional, but potentially helpful. Officer Davis, badge number 123 is, what is the emergency and how can I help you? Again, we're not going to assume we did anything wrong. We're not engaged in transportation. We're not commercial. Therefore, his authority to pull us over for some alleged offense under that code is non-existent. Therefore, we have to ask, why are you stopping me? Do you have a problem and do you need me to help you?
These sob citizens will say this, that if a cop pulls you over, they're only really supposed to pull you over if they need your help and assistance because you're not commercial. Don't even buy into this I'm not commercial baloney, because it has nothing to do with the law. It's just something that they made up, and you're just believing a lie that's going to get you in more trouble. If you're on the road, you need to have your ducks in a row. And the reason for traffic laws is because people get killed every day out on the highways and roads, and they're trying to do all these different things to make it safer for you to travel from point A to point B. And you violate these rules because you're making the roads more unsafe, and the cop has a right to pull you over and possibly cite you for it. But it could give you a warning if you're not an a-hole. But this guy's teaching you to be an a-hole, so you're going to get a ticket following his advice, and worse.
Because in Texas and most other republics, they can ask for help from the people to subdue a criminal or things of that nature, and you're required to help if you can. So we're going to ask. Officer Davis, badge number 123, what facts or information are you alleging gave you probable cause to stop and accost me? Right there, we're asking the officer to validate his authority. What alleged facts are you relying on as your authority to do what you're doing to me right now?
His authority is not in question. That's his job, to keep the roads safe. To keep idiots out, with these soft-sit idiots that don't think the traffic laws apply to them, to check them too. He has the authority because the state gave him the authority. The city, if he's a city cop, or if he's a county sheriff, or if he's a state trooper, he has that authority. So asking him or not, you can find out if he's a real cop, because I know there's a lot of fake cops out there. But you could say, I just want to make sure you're a real cop. That's all I would do if I had any reason to doubt he was a real cop. But other than that, he has the authority.
Now, of course, he's going to cite immediately something related to transportation. When we get to trial, that's going to become very important, not only in our defense, but also in our federal lawsuit when we sue everybody in the food chain after this case is over.
This is the lie that these gurus tell you, that you're going to sue, everybody in the food chain, what he said. You're going to sue the court, you're going to sue the police. If you ever watch these Lowell's cows on YouTube, you'll know they're always going to sue somebody. And this is the same mentality. They never sue anybody. They never win any court cases. So their track record is zero. Why even entertain the idea that you acting like an asshole out there on the roadway is going to work out for you, and if it doesn't, you're going to sue them? Because that's never going to happen. Reality is, you are never going to sue them. They have every right to pull you over, and they know how to fill out the paperwork, they know how to prove their case, and you don't.
Officer Davis, badge number 123, do you have a properly signed and issued warrant authorizing you to search me or my property? Again, documenting the right. Do you have a warrant? And this warrant specifically directed at searching, okay?
This is another thing. They didn't follow the script. Because they're not lawyers, they don't know all these case laws. They follow these scripts. And I found a few online. They don't work. Okay? They're a fail. Yet people still doing them. People still promoting them. Even though no one has won using these scripts. It's never worked out for anybody. The only time it works out is that you kept the cop there long enough that he gets out on a more important call and he has to leave, and you're on your way because all of a sudden, there's a robbery at the First National Bank, or there's a big accident a mile up the road and he needs to attend to that and you got lucky. And they will claim victory when that happens. And they will brag, and the other soft citizens, oh, wow, it worked for Joe. But it never really does work for him. This is the delusion that these people are working on.
Can you search me or my property? If he says yes, simply ask to see a copy of the warrant. Texas law is now written where the officer is not required to have the warrant in his possession.
The cop does not need a warrant if he has reasonable suspicion. Probable cause. If he smells marijuana in your car, he's going to search your car. Even if you don't have any, if you just smoked it and threw the roach out the window just before he pulled you over, and he's still going to search your car. Okay, and if he finds anything that's not supposed to be there, you're going to be charged with it. He doesn't have time. I'm going to plant evidence on this guy I've never even met that I pulled over for speeding. I'm going to put, this bag of cocaine in his car. That doesn't happen in the real world. If they do that, it's a crooked cop and you're in trouble with the mob and they're trying to get you or something. That'd probably be the only reason that would ever happen, or if the cartels have a cop on the take and they're trying to get you out of the way. But in reality, average Joe citizen, they're not going to plant something. Even if you piss them off with all your soft citizen crap, they're not going to plant evidence on you. If they find something, you're going to be in trouble for it because you already pissed them off. At this point, they're searching your car, and they're already pissed off at you because you pulled all that sovereign citizen crap on them. They're going to search your car pretty thoroughly, and if you do get something, even if they find a marijuana seed and you're in a state where marijuana is illegal, you're going to get a ticket. Normally, they would probably just throw the seed out. That's not a big deal to them. They're looking for a bigger score. But, you've already made things worse for yourselves. And anything the cop can find to get you on, he's going to get you on. If you bump up against him getting out of the car, he can get you for assault at that point because you've already escalated things to the point you shouldn't escalate them. And this script that they have, they use it in court. I don't know if they use the same script in court. This never works. Insanity is trying to do something that didn't work and keep trying at it. And that's what these people are insane. If they think this script is going to help them, cops are being trained on these scripts. So they're going to have to rewrite their scripts over and over again because cops, as soon as they find a new script, the police department search the internet too. And they find these soft citizen scripts on the internet too. And they're sure in hell, if they find one, they're going to print off just in case they ever run into one. And giving them paperwork. Here, read this. Cop's not going to read it. They don't have to. They don't give you anything to read. So why are they expected to read what you hand them? My best advice here is, if you get pulled over, show them your identification. If you don't have one, just admit you don't have one. I don't have an ID. I got my driver's license suspended. And just because the nicer you are, the less trouble you're going to be in. The more of an asshole, the more confrontational you are. Following this guy's advice is going to get you in more trouble than it's worth. You're going to pay for your new windshield because they're not going to pay for it. They're going to tow your car too. When they take you to jail, they're going to tow your car. If you have children with you, your children are going to be under CPS. If you have animals with you, your animals are going to be impounded. So if you care about your children, make sure you have a driver's license, registration, insurance before you turn the key to that automobile. Unless you want to deal with CPS for the next couple of years, because that's what's going to happen. Because you're not only going to be going through traffic, you're going to be going through Child Protective Services court too. You're going to have to pay to get your cars impounded. And I'll tell you, I was a tow truck driver. Getting your car in impound is not cheap. They have a set amount. The state actually sets the amount. The towing company doesn't set it. So don't get mad at them when they say you owe them $85 to get your car back, or $130 or $300, whatever amount they say. That's regulated by the state. So don't get mad at the tow truck driver. Or some states the state will impound. I know in Colorado it used to be they had the state impounded it, and then sometime in the 90s they changed it to now they contracted with towing companies to impound your vehicle. My advice to anybody who's looking in American National, use common sense. Our laws are based on common law. That doesn't mean they are common law. They're based on it, just like a movie's based on a real event, but we know how things aren't really in the movies like it really happened. That's the same way with the law. The law is based on common law, but it's not common law. Don't listen to these gurus, because they're going to get you in trouble.
On the steering wheel.